Righto, I did a bit of a photo shoot, which were photos from England a few weeks back, and it was of the Cobra 2000, and this is the Cobra 2000 GTL DX. So this is a very custom Cobra. Now, I'm going to need to explain a few things first. I'm listening to Steve 177 in Wodonga and 231 Steve. It's like Steve 1 and Steve 2, and they're both on their beams, so we're not hearing them great, but that's okay. Anyway, I'll just turn that volume down. So what do we deal with first? Do we deal with the fact that we've got to explain some illegal parts about this radio that need to be modified? It's probably a good place to start, but we won't. You know what? Let's start with the fact that, first of all, these covers are completely chromed. Sides everywhere. They're like mirrors. And then laser etched into the top is the Cobra logo, which is probably a little bit hard with that light. There we go. And it's just done so well. So whole setup, as you see, is like a mirror finish. It's quite good. Also, in this radio, you've got lights in the speakers, and you might go, "What do you want lights in the speakers for?" Well, hang on. Let's just sort of talk about the lights. And to do that, I need to turn a few lights off. So what we'll do is we'll just turn some lights off and just have a look at what this looks like in the room. Alright, so I wanted to just turn some lights off just to give you an idea of how this sits, just with no external lighting around it. We've still got a little bit of light coming off the crow over there. One of the little modules just needs a bit of just under here. The ring is not sort of lighting up properly, so we'll sort that out. There's no problems. But even in the little switch banks, this is really look, this may not be everyone's cup of tea. So when you get to the comments file and you say, "Are you on drugs and what were you thinking when you bought this?" That's okay, because you know, everybody has a different taste of what they want. Now, this has different bands in it. Have a look at this. And to tell you what band you're on, the colours change. So basically, it's taken it up to UK FM band. Now, I need to talk about the legalities in a minute, but we will touch on that. But what I do want to show you is just how much work went into this to actually get the proper UK band frequencies. This is not easy to do. It is a feature that we have to disable. Okay, so this is the second band, the mid band, which, as you can see, does things that the radio legally can't do. Now they designate it with the blue, and then we go back to the standard 35 and channel 35 there. There is a 10kc switch, like so. So puts you up 10 kcs, just like so. So if you want to go from 35 to 36, just there, and you'll see the 10 kc markers coming up on the display. So we'll get on to some of the other features. I might turn some lights back on. I'm sort of enjoying this, but I need to let's just see. You watch how boring this becomes all of a sudden. Righto, okay. Yeah, we need to get some more lights. Hang on, I'll just turn some more lights back on. Righto, so we're back to some bright lights back on and chrome, and but I just wanted to do that. I know it's kind of a bit wanky, and you may sort of go, I used to like Brenton's videos, but I'm now over it. Comes with the original Cobra mic too, which is nice. Anyway, let's go through, and we might just touch on what's been done to this radio. And then we'll talk about some legalities, and we need to talk about them. I want to use this as just a little bit of an educational as well. So we'll certainly work through it. Righto, so starting with over here, and working across, you'll see that there's been quite a transformation of what's on here. So let's scan past the normal one. So this is one that I'll be selling fairly soon. Mint, it's really nice. Anyway, so you'll see the differences. Dynamic Plus, volume, squelch, RF gain, SWR cal, tone, voice lock, mode switch, and etc. So A&L, noisemaker, CB, PA, SWR, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that is your standard Cobra 2000 GTL, and this is not the GTL DX. And you might say, I don't remember a GTL DX. Well, it's a bit like the Bengal, the Nitro Bengal. It's a custom, and once again, we'll talk about custom and Australia because we need to. But we won't talk about it just yet. So what they've done, they've obviously changed here. They've gone, all right, let's have the dynamic is fine, but when you pull this, oh, I can't transmit. I need to put that into a dummy load, unfortunately, and I'll explain that why. Just let me just transfer over to dummy load for a minute. Okay, so now just to be very, very clear, we're putting this radio, which is a type approved radio, with obviously some modifications that take it off type of, as being, it's not obviously type approved as manufactured at the moment. So for that reason, we're putting it into a dummy load. So let's have a look at their first modification. When you pull this fella out, it's a Roger beep. They're calling it a bleep. That's okay. But what we're seeing on here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, no. So we're not pushing lots of power at the moment, and there's a reason for that. Let's just go over. Obviously, we discussed the volume squelch hasn't changed. Now, this one here. Now, this is the problem for type approval. Mid, high, and UK. Now, this is something that is a problem for Australia. There's just no way getting around it. What has to happen is the high and the UK, unfortunately, needs to be disabled. And there's a few points of view on this, so please, I know that, believe me, more than anyone, I know the deal as such, as far as some people will say, hey, you know, if you don't get caught using it, you'll be fine. With that, I say, read section 46, 158 and 160 of the Act. And these areas are very, very defining. And so the reason we've taken it off an antenna and put it up onto the analyzer is for exactly that we're now using a non-type approved radio, which should be type approved. It unfortunately wouldn't pass the ACMA having a look at it. So let's be just very clear on that. So, and why is that? Well, it never had these positions here. FM is not legal in Australia. You cannot have a FM transmitter on 27 megs, no matter how much you like it. Now, the 10kc switch, you might say, oh, well, it's just a quick way to go up one channel. Yeah, well, that's sort of true, except for we forget about the fact that, you know, possibly, now I'll just see if that works there. Let's haven't even tried this, to be honest. Yeah, so see, what happens, remember the old days of channel 15A? Well, this is an example of channel 15A. It goes from 27135 to an illegal, unfortunately 27145 is not a frequency that legally you can transmit on the allocated 40 channels. So that switch there will not meet, unfortunately, ACMA's requirements. The A&L actually works as an A&L. The talkback is I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so we've sort of talked a little bit about this is primarily an illegal radio. And look, I'm going to take discussions with ACMA on just exactly what needs to happen to this to make it a legal radio. Now, I'm not going to kid you. I'm probably going to keep this as a sample that we can display. But I must be very clear on this. The minute you hook up an antenna and transmit on this, you know, and really trying to get this across to people. ACMA at the moment are not, you know, jumping on people left, right, and centre. I understand that. By the same token, certainly within their rights on some things to come and do that. So I suppose I'm using this radio as a example of, hey, you know, this is great if you're a collector. I have another license which enables me to have non-conforming radios, and that's not a license that you get easily. So I can show you this, but I must follow the rules, and the rules say in that particular license that, you know, my operation of this type of equipment, if it doesn't meet type approval, is limited to a dummy load. And anyone who knows me knows I'm a collector. There's no way that, you know, all these radios that are sitting here, and this is just a few of the base radios, there's no way I get to transmit on them very often, I can tell you. And the truth is, I'm a collector that loves collecting things that are different. So, you know, we can certainly in the comments section of this video talk about, you know, what may or may not need to happen to this to make it comply to Australian, you know, ACMA regulations. I can assure you that, you know, I will be talking to ACMA about it. I've got a chap who, he's actually an amateur as well, by the way, and very good to deal with. And I think sometimes if you're in doubt, bring them, you know, get them to clarify what it is that you've got, find out, you know, whether or not it's meeting the regulations, and whether you're liable in any way, shape or form. All right, enough on that. Let's just get back to, because this video will go for, you know, 100 minutes soon. I do want to just make sure that, you know, people understand that times are changing and there are some moves afoot. I can't go into much more than that, but I can tell you that, you know, putting up YouTube videos of using your old FT707 on 27555 probably is about one of the dumbest things you could do right now. You know, I know we all like to, you know, have a play with equipment, and we love, you know, what we have. In the CB world, believe it or not, you have less, far less variables than we do as amateur radio operators. I can take pretty much anything and all this amateur radio gear here, and all this amateur radio gear here, and this is only Shack 1 or Shack 2 or something, I don't know, bit of a mess right now, but I can take all those amateur radios and I can get them on all the bands that, you know, they're meant to work on, and really, I'm within my license conditions, and certainly, you know, look, if I go fitting 27 megs to every one of those amateur radios, they're going to look at me sideways, absolutely. But please just understand that with CB radio, you need to get au fait with the regulations and the Act as it is written. Look, I'm the first one to admit, I had a lot of updates myself. All right, so let's have a look at this radio. So we were just talking about, obviously, the things that, you know, 1, 2, 3, etc., and 4 being the FM. So we've covered all that. So please, just remember, we are going into a dummy load with anything we show you at the moment, and this radio is not going into an antenna. So I reckon a function that's pretty good is 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. They've got a talkback function in there. Actually, I'll just put it back to my service monitor sitting on channel 35. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Actually, now I've got to turn my service monitor down because otherwise you won't hear the talkback. So what the talkback's done with this is given you a good idea. 1 2 3 4 5. So if I really overmodulate 1 2 3 4 5 and go crazy on the mic, I can hear it. So I can hear 1 2 3 4 5. If I keep the microphone, you know, a couple of. And my apologies, we just had, as people know, I use my phone and someone just rang, and it's not their fault. I should have turned off my my phone so that it couldn't answer. And anyway, we'll put this video together. Okay, so we were talking about the talkback. Where did we go from there? Sorry. There was no... oh, that's right, sorry. So we were talking about the hello 1 2 3 4, so we can hear it. Now, of course, because you can, not because, you know, it's needed, you've got 1 2 3 4. I'll turn that bleep off as well. Hang on. Now, you can actually vary the amount of echo. 1 2 3, 4, and 1. Yeah, okay. Now, is this a good function? Probably, if you're really bored. Okay, but it is something that they've put in there, and you can monitor it on your talkback. Is it illegal? Oh, there's a good question. The answer would have to be, if it plugged in through this microphone cord here, and there was a little box that said echo, and you plug that in, you're probably quite legal. The minute you put it inside this type approved radio, you're probably not. I'll check that one out. There's a few things that we're going to try and highlight in these videos as we go along as to Australian law. We are not the US, guys. We are not the UK, and we're certainly not Europe. We're Australia. And to anybody watching outside Australia, and I know we've got now, look, more than half of our members are coming in from overseas, and I really appreciate that. It's great. But please understand, over here, we do have some pretty interesting defining situations at times legally, and we need to be mindful of that. So there are some things that you'll hear us discussing that are probably more relative to just in Australia. Okay, so we know that you've got a volume for the echo. Volume for the echo and delay on there, etc. Now the voice lock, of course, follows there, etc., etc. So you can see it's just a normal sort of pan. Okay, so what else might be illegal? If this clarifier is unlocked, I haven't checked, to be honest. I can do that very easily though. Hang on, 1 2 1 2. Let me just turn this up. Right, so if I go 1 2 1 2, and I'm all clarified there. Let's have a look. I'll spin it around and go 1 2 1 2 and 1 2 1 2. Hello, hello. It's miles off. So okay, so it's got an unlocked clarifier. Now, as petty as it sounds, it's not as it came out from the factory. So there are some debatable, issues. To be considered. I'm just getting this right here. What have I done there? Wrong way. It's better. I'll fix that in a second. Must have to go that way a bit. Oh God, I'm nearly there. No, I'm not. I'm going to go this way. It's how you hold your mouth. Right. 0.0. So basically, all good. All bad. I can see now ACMA won't like that. So we've got a radio here that does not comply in a lot of ways. And you might ask, well, hang on, you fired this up before and you had an antenna on it. And I did. The law is very, very distinct on some of the areas at least. Had I transmitted on it, I've probably liable to cop a warning or a fine, and you're going to hear more and more about this. So I don't want to be, sort of saying that I know more than anybody else, because I just don't. But I will say this, is that non-conforming equipment, certainly is being highlighted right now. So just a little bit of care. I understand people are collectors. I get that. I'm a collector. I get that. Sometimes you're going to have something that's not completely 100%. I don't think they're coming after you for that. But when you put it in front of them on YouTube or Facebook and wave and smile while you're doing it, that could be an issue. So anyway, but I don't want to speak for ACMA in any way. I just want to give you my experience and how it relates to this radio. Okay, so pretty excited about this, because not only does it has a great transmitter. It just so you know, we'll do it. It's on about 14-15 watts at the moment. Don't worry about what you saw just before. I'm sort of attenuating a little bit through how I've got it set up here. Actually, I probably can very easily fix that. Just let me sort something out. All right, now remembering that we're in dummy load, and I'm just going to we've fixed our little attenuation problem up. Hello 1 2. Hello 1 2. Okay. Now I'm tricking you, by the way. This radio is not 100 watts. We actually just sort of testing something else on the way through, and that's why I've got my drive turned down a little bit on this one. So we won't go into that, but it's just a little quick test. But as you can see, drives pretty well. So what else do we want to say about this? Because it's such an impressive radio. I suppose this video is more it's about this beautiful radio, but it's also about be careful these days. With something like this. Unfortunately, the way it is, it just cannot be used on CB radio legally. This would break most of the rules here in Australia. So I don't want to try and say to you, hey, they won't be too bothered. No, they'll be bothered. They'll be bothered by mid-high UK. They'll be bothered by lots of things. And I'm really trying to get the message out there that as you're enjoying the hobby, just be careful to make sure that you distinguish. I think the easiest way for us to make this something we can put on the shelf and show as a display unit is we'll probably actually detach any ability for this radio to transmit, and it'll become just a receiver that looks lovely. And I know you might say that's a waste, but to some extent, if ACMA were to come into my shack and were to say, hey, what's going on with this thing here, then I need to be able to say to them, no, we've taken measures, to get that one, to the stage where we didn't want to change it. We didn't want to unhook all this. We didn't want to change any of the 10kc. We didn't want to unlock the clarifier. We didn't want to remove the FM. But we did want to have this incredible piece of artwork that's been done by a chap in the UK. And we wanted to display it to Australians to just show, this is, I suppose, what I'm getting at. This is something that someone who's more talented than me, I can tell you, I haven't got the patience to do all the mods he's done on this. And I do have a part 2 coming. The part 2 will be, let's have a look inside it and just see exactly how he did some things, because I think that will be interesting. So basically, if you know the Cobra 2000s fairly well, everything else, that we go to from that really is, the same. Whether we start having a look at the time and how it calculates and how it adjusts the time, etc. And push the two of them. Here we go. Anyway, so, and that, of course, is your AM, FM, etc. And it can sort of turn on when, as an alarm. So your radio will just turn on at certain times, and you can set that time as well. I'd always probably leave it in the counter mode. And by the way, I want to have a look at the counter. This is one of the most stable Cobra 2000 counters. We've done mods on them before to get them better. I say that and I'm flickering a little bit at the moment, but don't worry, that's just my setting here. We'll fix that. But I can say this is a lovely bit of work that our friend in the UK has done. And I will be absolutely on to him about any other creations he does, because we want you guys to be able to come and see some of this when we get set up, so that you can come and have a look at what it is, and just see exactly, imagine this. Excuse me. The work that's gone into changing all these plates here and making it look like it's come out of the factory, which is what he's done. It's just amazing. Making it all work so that even the colour and the brushed aluminium look matches from here to here, and it really does. It's a piece of art. I really want to say that. Excuse me. So this is a video about something that we want to do more on. We want to certainly show you the internals of how somebody made this happen, and I need to get into it anyway. I just want to fix this little one light here, but and to the owner, the ex-owner, I don't expect you to warranty anything we do from here. That's okay. You've done a great job. By the way, the packaging that came from the UK it was in a box about 7 times the size of what it needed to be, which to me means that he's a good eBay seller. So at some stage, sorry, I haven't got his name here, but I'll put that on the next YouTube video when we have a bit of a look inside. So that's the Cobra 2000 GTL DX. I like the GTL DX. I think it's obviously they did the Cobra 200 GTL DX. So now there's the Cobra 2000 GTL DX. It deserves to have the DX because it's a little bit different, and it's a whole lot of fun. And look, I wish I could get on air with it and show you a whole lot of things, but I'd just be causing myself grief. So please, if you've got any questions, certainly put them in the comments file. You can also email me, Brenton at posnav.com.au. I'm happy to answer questions in relation to my interpretation of the Act and how I have certainly had it explained to me. One of the things that you may be questioning is is that through my own experience with ACMA, and the short answer to that is yes. But let me tell you, I learnt a lot. I really did, and there was nothing overly scary about the ACMA, and that's why I say if you've got a question, just tell them, ring them, say, hey, look, I'm not sure of something. They are not going to do you for asking a question and trying to do the right thing. They may caution you to do the right thing, sure, but I can tell you my experience, and we have a lot of radio equipment here, and we needed to get a couple of things into place, absolutely, and we did. But let me tell you, we are trying our best to get it right from here. So there will be some radios where we will be a little bit, I suppose, correct in how we explain it to you, because we're not wanting you to get the wrong impression, and for you to go out and modify so that you too can talk on 27805 and higher and and sorry, just that's an interesting point too. So you might say to me, well, who cares? Well, let's say the UK 40 frequencies. Have a look at this. 27940 .941 is a FM channel. So you go to FM down here. 941.2 will do. It's probably 941 if I move that back there. There we go. And you might say to me, well, what's the problem? Come on, just get a life. Well, these are marine frequencies in Australia. As we go through here, we're on the HF marine frequencies, and if anyone remembers, look at that, 27880, close enough. All I'd have to do is move my, there we go, there we are, we're on the marine distress frequency, and and the thing is, you may not know that. You may think, hey, I'm going to call CQDX on there. Well, and that's the reason that ACMA are clamping down on a lot of this. So that's a very short explanation of of sometimes what can go wrong, in what we're doing here. You can cause interference to possibly somebody that's really needing help. So there are some reasons that the bands are set the way they are. I understand 27555 is probably not quite a problem for you and for anybody else. And actually, we just jumped in free. Oh, we're on 29 there. So I was just thinking, what, not on 35, but there we are. That's all right, I'm going mental. So you may think that it's all okay, but no, it's not. There are areas where we just need to comply. And for those of you that are saying, hey, I don't care about your 2-bit CB radios, that I'm running a big Yaesu with a big 2 kilowatt amplifier and 27. Good luck to you. All power to you, but trust me, that's probably the best way to get done at the moment, So, just a warning, and it's coming from a good place. I really don't want anybody, I want you to enjoy the hobby, not have to sit there and, be fined or, have the problems that can occur. All right, well, let's just finish off with this beautiful chrome radio that just I love, and I think it's beautiful. And we will have this in our display, guys, so that you two can enjoy it and come and have a look at just how it is. We'll make sure that all these are switched onto antennas, and but as I said, we will disable the transmit on this one, and we'll discuss with ACMA just exactly whether or not, as a non-transmitting demonstration receiver, whether that sort of could go on a shelf. And once again, I'm sure they'll identify exactly what it is that we can do. All right, so that is it. I tell you what, I'm going to miss the color change. Well, if they say we have to disable that, it's kind of neat, isn't it? Anyway, a bit of fun. All right, 73s. I'm sorry this video went on a bit long. There is a bit of explanation on it that we'll get into, a bit more in time. I've got a few instructional videos I want to do to honestly to help you. It's my only reason. I've got nothing to gain. I certainly don't get any revenue from ACMA. So I'm definitely giving them revenue generally. I have 5 or 6 or 7 licenses with them. So they do all right. All right. But let me just stress once again, if you're in doubt, don't talk to me, talk to them. They're definitely, you can talk to me, but for something that is accurate and down to the, down to the T what you need to know, definitely, pick up the phone and talk to your local ACMA guys, because they will certainly identify, whether or not you're working within the rules or not. 73s from VK3 Charlie Mike, JDW, Jack Daniels Whiskey, my old 229, JDW 229 call sign. Been a member of the Jack Daniels Whiskey Club, Jack Daniels Whiskey 26 Jeff. Actually joined me when I was 13 years of age, and I have been a member ever since. And I run into the odd member every now and again, and every time I do, I know that they're as old as me, and I think, wow, we made it this far. Let's enjoy the rest of life, hey? All the best, 73s. We'll catch you soon.